The employment data released by the MBS. That's why we have the Statistician General of the Federation. He's also the Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Adeyemi Adeniran, joining us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Adeniran. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
So ever since you released this new method of your survey, there's been a lot of conversations. Some economists are not comfortable with it. The definition of employment, of underemployment, they believe that it will not allow the true picture of employment in the country to be captured. Could you give us some of the highlights of it and, you know, why you decided to go this route?
Right. Thank you once again. The newly redesigned and expanded Nigerian Labor Force Survey is the best that we can have for the country as at now. Before, the working age population, where the issue of labor market statistics start, is pegged at 15 to 64 years, or is defined as 15 to 64 years. With this new methodology, we have revised it in line with the ILO standard that other countries of West Africa, Africa as a whole, and indeed the whole world are using. It is 15 years and above. After that, in line with the standard, again, the number of hours that a person needs to work before he or she is determined or is classified as being in employment or not has been also benchmarked at 1 hour a week. When we say 1 hour a week, it does not mean that we have pegged the number of hours that a person must work in 1 week to 1 hour. What it means is that those people that have been working before, that we have been taking out of the people that are producing goods and services that we capture in our national account, are left out. But now, with this new methodology, we have been able to bring them into the basket. For instance, before, if you work between 1 hour to 19 hours in a week, you are regarded as unemployed. With the structure of our economy as at present, in Nigeria, is it okay for us to say that somebody that work between 1 to 19 hours in 1 week, don't look at the 1 hour because it's just a benchmark. We are not saying you must only work for 1 hour. After 1 hour, you go back to your house and sleep. Even if you have opportunity to work for more hours, that is not what we are saying. So if you worked 1 hour to 19 hours before, you are saying that you are unemployed. Is that the correct situation on ground? There are a lot of people that work 5 hours, 6 hours in a week, and they are satisfied with that number of hours maybe because of earning and other factors that surround the kind of work that they do. And they are not asking for more hours of work except that one that they are putting.
All right, Mr. Adeniran, I think...
now going to force them that no, you must work more hours if you are getting enough money from that
I think that's where the question actually starts from. For instance, you say now from you classify working age to be about 14, 15 years, and then someone will ask you, when we look at the Nigerian environment in reality, should we say that children of 14, 15 years are workers and earning, and we can now classify them as being employed? And then you also talked about between 1 hour to 4 hours, and you said there are people who work like 5 hours and are satisfied with it. I mean, it raises a lot of questions. I mean, when you look at the reality of our economy, people who do such works, for instance, you employ a gardener, he comes to your house and works for just a couple of hours, and we count that as employment. We all know that that man cannot take care of his family comfortably. That's the fact. So, you know, when you now calculate this as employment, a lot of people have a problem with it, and we've had many conversations with economists right here saying that it is questionable and it does not capture the real state of our employment or unemployment in Nigeria.
All right. I think when we talk about employment, people tend to look at employment in formal sector or employment in wage or salary office. Employment is when you are engaged in an activity that fetch you wages or salary, or that fetches you profit. So employment is not only when you work in an office or in a company. And in the structure of our economy is highly informal economy. And that is why we see that 95%, about 95% of people that are working in Nigeria are working in informal sector. So if you concentrate only on those that are working 40 hours that are maybe government workers or a standard company worker, and they are just about 13% of the total workforce, total working age population in the country. So if you want to concentrate on that, and you have self-employed people that work in the informal sector that are like 90%, you want to leave those ones outside and concentrate and say that because what they are earning cannot take them home. This is exactly what the data is talking about, that we need to provide information to the government that, look, majority of the people that are working, the large proportion are informal sector. Majority of people that are working, a large number of them are not working up to the potential that they want in terms of number of hours. Majority of people that are working, the take home that they are getting is not what can survive them. These are the information that are contained in that report, which is what government need to plan to ensure that this huge informal sector that we have, how do we transform them to a formal economy? How do we bring them on board, enroll them, support them, and let them transform into a formal economy where everybody, all of us are aspiring, that so that if you have a lot of them now, they can absorb more people, and people can work more hours, and then they can earn a good living. The labor force survey is not about welfare survey. It's not a welfare survey. What it captures is your engagement in an activity that gives you income, wages, or salary, or profit, if you are into services or trade. So don't bring in the issue of it doesn't, I work for 8 hours in a week, it doesn't give me enough amount of money that I want. There are other surveys that look at the welfare of workers or citizens as a whole. The Nigerian Living Standard Survey look at the welfare of the people. The Food Security Survey look at whether people have food or not to eat in an affordable manner. There are other surveys that deal with issue of health. So we cannot bring in the objective of other surveys into the labor force survey.
All right.
Labor force survey is just looking at engagement of people.
Okay.
The number of hours they put in.
All right.
What type of work are they doing?
Okay.
And what are the conditions of that work?
All right.
So these are the information that government can use to plan and address what is happening in the labor market in Nigeria.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that explanation, Mr. Adeniro. So we see that 3/4 from the report that you released yesterday, 3/4 of working age Nigerians were employed. That's 73.6% in the fourth quarter of last year and 76.7% in the first quarter of this year. By implication, by the fourth quarter of last year, 2022, only 26% of Nigerians were unemployed, and then 23% unemployed in the first quarter of this year. But does that capture, you know, we've had a lot of things happen in the economy between late last year, before the election, first quarter of this year and all of that. Does it really capture it? And as you have said, of course, we agree with you that the MBS is there to give the data. But we have always been questioning if the data actually captures the reality. For instance, the inflation data. Some economists believe that real inflation is about 50%, if not more. You know, so this again, when you say only 26% of Nigerians were unemployed by late last year and less than that at the first quarter of this year, it just raises a lot of questions.
So, thank you. I think this is why I'm happy that we are invited to come and make some clarification. For instance, when you are quoting 20-something% unemployed, that's not the figure. 23%, 25% are people that are supposed to be working in working age. You know, I started by defining the working age population. And I said that's where all other labor market statistics we derive from. Among the people that are 15 and above in the country, that's the working age, 73 or 76% of them are working, are engaged in one activity or the other within the reference period. The remaining 20-something% that are not working, they are not unemployed. We are saying that the housewife, the student, they are part of the working age population, but they are not working. And we cannot say they are not employed because they are in school. They are not part of the calculation of unemployment. When we want to talk about unemployment, is those that are within that working age population that are looking for work to do, available to do the work, ready to do the work, and they are searching for it, but they cannot get. That is when we say this person is unemployed. But for housewife, for elderly people, for students, they are classified as out of labor force. And because they are not engaged, that is why we say they are not working. We didn't say they are unemployed because they are not part of the calculation for unemployment. So these are some of the things. Unemployment rate for the quarter 4 of 2022 is 5.3. The unemployment rate for the quarter 1 of 2023 is 4.1. That is the unemployment rate. The other figure you are quoting is people that are not working, that are within the working age group. So we need to really understand this concept, and that's why we are here to make this clarification. And then when you say that people are expecting that if somebody is 14 years or less, are we expecting them to work? That is, they are already out of labor force. They are not part of what we are considering. because we said for you to be considered to be in labor force, first you must be among the working age population of 15 years and above. Before, what we have is to peg the age at 15 to 64 years. But just to show you that this data now reflect exactly what is happening in the economy as a whole. You have people that are in the university, professors that are 70 years of age. In the whole methodology, it means that those people are not going to be considered at all when we are estimating people that are employed in the country. And they are contributing a lot to our economy. The judges, they retire at the age of 70, but we have pegged the age for consideration of employed people at 15 to 64, which means those judges that are outside the age of 64 that are still working, we are not capturing them. We have expanded this to ensure that all the people that are contributing to the economy, all the people that are engaged in one activity or the other are captured. That is what this has done for us. We have also seen from the data that the informal sector, those that work not in formal sector like 8 hours salary at the end of the month, but they only get profit and they only work on daily basis, maybe for some few hours. The woman that is frying akara outside there, that is what that woman is using to train his children in school. But because he's not working in a setting, on an environment of giving a number of hours for her to work, we want us to be saying, why are you capturing them? Because he will just go out, she will go out in the morning, fry akara for 2 hours or 3 hours, and done for the day.
All right, sir.
Because it's not up to 8 hours, we should not
all right, Mr.
That is what we have done.
General, thank you so much for your explanation. Statistician General of the Federation and the Chief Executive of National Bureau of Statistics. We hope to get more data from you, and I hope one of these days you will come for us to talk about our inflation data. That's also another, we have a lot of questions around that, but we're out of time, totally out of time now. That's why we cannot take that. But thank you for sparing some time for us this morning.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to explain some of these things to Nigerians, and thank all the Nigerians for having interest in our data. It's the engagement of our data that make us to improve from day to day and to ensure that we are providing accurate and high-level quality data for government, for all other users of our data.
All right, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's our data too. It's Nigeria's data, so we have to be interested in it. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes.